So I've been a big proponent that Everson Griffen and the Minnesota Vikings would both benefit from getting the band back together, running it back for 2020, just kissing and making up, that whole thing. But I wanted to play devil's avocado a little bit and look at it from the perspective of maybe the Vikings shouldn't sign him. Maybe there are some benefits in not bringing back number 97, even though they haven't reissued number 97. Numerology podcast coming soon. But here are 5 reasons why the Vikings should not re-sign Everson Griffen this year. So to recap, Everson, 32 years old, 4th round pick by the Vikings 2010, 74 and a half sacks, 4th all time on the Vikings list behind John Randall, Chris Dolman, and Jared Allen. Perhaps you've heard of them. Captain, leader, heart and soul of this defense. You know what it is, right? Redid his deal last offseason at the 11th hour and added in a couple of opt-outs if he hit a couple of statistical plateaus. Easily did that, put up 8 sacks last season, as well as 1.5 sacks in the wild card win was a big part of that W down in New Orleans. But as decided to opt out, the Vikings were going to cut him anyway and decided to test out the free agent market and been a little bit tepid, a little bit peckish with this weird-ass offseason. Teams can't bring him in for physicals and whatnot, so here we are. And now, I still think that it's highly probable that the Vikings and Everson run it back, but maybe they won't. Here are 5 reasons why they potentially won't. Reason number 1, that defensive line is stacked. Now, I talk about primarily about the edge guys to a degree interior, because if Everson does come back, he could kick inside a little bit, a la late career Brian Robinson, a la early career Everson Griffen, because when Everson was on his rookie deal from 2010 to 2013, he was primarily playing inside in passing down situations, very akin to how Afadio Denebo and Shamar Stephen Weatherly nailed it, operated last season. Primary edge rushers kicking inside and passing situations. He did that to get on the field because the Vikings were very set. Jared Allen at right defensive end, Brian Robinson at left defensive end. But, I mean, the Vikings defensive line, it's ready to shine. Fadio Denebo is ready to go as a full-time starter, as well as add in 4th-round draft picks DJ Wanham out of South Carolina, James Lynch as well out of Baylor, plus 7th-rounder Kenny Willekes, I think has some talent coming out of Michigan State. Throw in Anthony Zettel. Pretty solid veteran utility defensive lineman as well. And the Vikings reloaded nicely after letting Everson go, or Everson opting out rather, as well as Stephen Weatherly signing a free agency with Carolina. So even if Everson does return, I don't think that he should impede the development of these guys coming up. Next up, reason number 2 why the Vikings and Everson Griffen won't run it back. Salary cap implications always comes down to the money, even though #cap is a myth. But per over the cap, Vikings currently have $14.204 million in cap space. And with coronavirus, it's going to be imperative to have that flexibility, because you're going to have players off of the active roster. You have to sign guys from the practice squad, sign street free agents, and that does take some money. And also, with the salary cap in flux next year, Vikings currently have $190.182 million in cap liabilities in 2021. Having as much cap space as possible to roll over to next season, where everything is uncertain, does make a lot of sense. So the Vikings, I think, will be pinching some pennies. And even though Everson Griffen probably won't cost a ton, especially as time gets longer and time goes on, as well as potential other suitors fall out of the derby for Everson Griffen, won't cost a lot, especially once you get to the regular season and that deal isn't fully guaranteed. Next up, reason number 3 not to bring 97 back. I think the Vikings might be mad. I mean, just a little bit. I mean, of course, it's a business. It is what it is. But, I mean, we're all human, right? So, Vikings and Everson, we're talking early on this offseason after Everson opted out, bringing him back at a lower number. I think the Vikings were certainly interested to do that. Also, could still be done, right? But then Everson, decided to put out that beautiful goodbye on Instagram. It was great for the fans, thanking everyone, as well as that doubled as a negotiating tactic. That was Everson, the agent, saying, hey, step back from the table. All right, balls in your court, Vikings. Also trying to make the team look bad in the court of public opinion, because, of course, Everson Griffen is a huge fan favorite. But also, last week, the whole out of nowhere, Everson Griffen to the Packers, there's mutual interest. What? Of course, we surmise that is yet another, just another negotiating tactic by the agent. Be like, hey, you won't play ball with us. So we'll talk with your arch rival across the river. How about Everson goes over there, wears some green and gold, huh? As well as, like, the team, I mean, the team and players obviously can get vindictive. We're only human, right? And the Vikings look at this, and be like, all right. So Everson, we love you. You're a team captain. We want you back at a lower number, but now, we're not going to put up with these shenanigans of just trying to humiliate us in the court of public opinion. Ain't going to happen. Next up, reason number 4 for the Vikings not to bring back Everson this season. Allow other leaders to thrive. Now, Everson, well, as you picked up, full-on alpha male, full-on absolute leader, full-on, hey, you're going to listen to me, and you're going to follow me, and you're going to love it. It's going to be great. He's very loquacious, and he's been a phenomenal team leader for the Vikings. But if he returns, I do worry that he could overshadow some of the other younger leaders stepping up in his absence, notably Eric Kendricks. So Kendricks is a very quiet, very soft-spoken, very lead-by-example grinder type dude. And also, I think with his breakout All-Pro season last year, as well as there being a true leadership vacuum, I think he could really step up and really thrive in the absence of Everson Griffen. Now, if Everson does return, even if Everson's on-field role is diminished, I think off the field, the whole leadership aspect about him in the locker room, I think that could steal some shine away from Eric Kendricks. I think Kendricks is ready to go as one of the best linebackers and leaders in this league. Lastly, reason number 5 why the Vikings shouldn't sign Everson Griffen right now. They could pick him up later. All right, so with COVID concerns as well as salary cap issues like we talked about, other teams simply are sitting on their hands. They're not bringing in a lot of big-time free agents from outside the building, outside the bubble. And now Everson obviously does have some talent and some gas left in the tank, but you easily could see him being up on blocks to start the season. And if the Vikings do have a need, perhaps there's an injury, knock on wood, or alien abduction, or if there's a player heading to COVID reserve, I mean, you could probably easily scoop him up for pennies on the dollar of what he would have been if you signed him during the offseason, as well as if you sign a player in season as opposed to being on the roster week 1, his salary isn't guaranteed, so you can go week to week on that. So I think that would also appeal to the Vikings and their salary cap issues. So I don't know. I still think it's likely that 97 and the Vikings get it back together, but I could see why they wouldn't. All right, so your thoughts, a couple reasons why the Vikings shouldn't re-sign Everson Griffen. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You want to support the work, pull us up in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull, production value.